For children in foster care, staying connected to family can make all the difference. Kentucky is now one of the first states in the whole country using new technology to make that happen.
Yeah, since launching across the Commonwealth, the partnership has shown early success. Tonight, WKYT Samantha Valentino sits down with the Department of Community-Based Services to learn more about the tool they say is helping Kentucky's children.
When it comes to placing a child in a foster home, Kelly Root with the Department of Community-Based Services says the goal is to connect them with kinship caregivers, family members or close family friends who can step in during a crisis. Research shows kinship placement leads to better outcomes for kids, including by reducing trauma and providing more stability than traditional foster care.
We want to be able to seek out and look for supportive members or supportive friends, family who can come around and surround that family. To really support them.
That's where Root says Binti's family finding and engagement tool comes in. The online tool helps caseworkers identify kinship caregivers for children in the foster care system in real time.
To support the workforce in doing real-time searches for relative and fictive kin caregivers for youth that are in foster care.
Since launching statewide in Kentucky, Binti says the tool has helped staff identify more than 150,000 connections for children. They say 93% of children with open searches in their portal have confirmed kin connections.
All of our staff that are case carrying have access to the family finding module. So they are able to do real-time searches.
Root says staff are averaging about 17 Binti searches per day. Binti's dashboard makes it easier to map complex family connections, combining all family finding activities into one system, so no potential caregiver is overlooked.
We know that staff are doing family finding in other ways as well, talking with families, talking with youth and young people about who are those important people in their life. And so this is just something that can be layered on top of that to find those initial connections for kids and families.
In Frankfort, Samantha Valentino, WKYT.
In September, Binti says Kentucky passed a major milestone as more children were placed with kin rather than in community foster homes.